Awesome. We are officially live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Legendary Chiropractor Podcast. Oh my goodness. I am so stoked to be sitting down with the famous Dr. Chris Zaino and Mr. Universe himself. We're having some fun tonight. We're talking all about this transition period that I'm in right now, pretty much of associateships and just kind of what do you need to have figured out aside from, school, the degree, the license, all that stuff that you really have to have in order before you walk across that stage in order to feel kind of comfortable with where you're going to be in the future. So we're going to talk all about it. We're going to dive into some other topics, possibly, how to identify, right, if you're a clinic owner, a really head chiropractor, or if you're able to kind of step into that associateship or independent contracting position and really thrive from there. In a time of transition, if you're moving somewhere new or what have you. So we're going to get down and dirty with all of those details. Excuse me if my nose sounds clogged. That's because it is. I'm expressing some health, as I was telling Dr. Zaino offline here, but we're ready to rock and roll. If you ever see me go off the screen for some reason, I'm probably blowing my nose, so just bear with me. So, Doc, I want to bring our first sponsors on here and thank them for just, supporting the Legendary Chiropractor, supporting the show. And be sure, guys, there's a link in the description. Be sure to share some love with them and make sure you get all the free stuff that they're giving away for the Legendary Chiropractor listeners and viewers. So I love you guys, and we'll be right back after this short break. To Inspire Women is the elite boutique coaching company for chiropractors who are looking to live life and run business in a way that is personal, unique, and authentic. They focus on business systems and money mindset mastery so you can pay down debt, be more profitable, and serve more people. Their goal is to empower you to achieve success by your own rules and your own definition. Head to toinspirewomen.com now because they know there's a better way. CHIRO HD, superior cloud-based practice management software. CHIRO HD is a user-friendly, all-in-one EHR solution built with one mission: to help you run your practice like a boss. Learn more at chirohd.com. Total Clinic Solutions is your go-to source for purchasing both brand new and refurbished chiropractic equipment, as well as phone support for repairs and maintenance. Call Derek and allow him to combine your wishes and his 23 years of chiropractic equipment expertise to find what's best for you and your patients at 704-622-4089 or head to totalclinicsolutions.com now. It's time that chiropractors look beyond spinal alignments and measured the nerve connections that keep our patients feeling strong and performing at their peak. CLA designed the Insight scanning technologies to transform exams and generate powerful reports that give practitioners the certainty they have been searching for. Learn how CLA has partnered with practices around the world by going to insightcla.com. Spinal hygiene products are designed to educate your patients on the importance of lifetime spinal care. To learn more about how spinal hygiene products work and to download the patient education material for free, visit spinalhygiene.co. Again, that's spinalhygiene.co. Easily share your passion for chiropractic and look good doing it with Above Down Apparel, offering a premium lineup of principled apparel that's impossibly soft, sustainably sourced, and chiropractic AF. Visit abovedown.co and follow them on Instagram to learn more and score yourself some sweet chiro swag. Sked is the all-in-one system that allows for amazing control and flexibility of your scheduling. Yes, your next new hire. Every aspect of when and where you service your customers is at your command. Sked is tightly integrated with your existing EHR system. This software was made by a chiropractor specifically for chiropractic. No joke. Go check out their latest care plan feature by heading to go.sked.life/legendarypod. Dr. David Toohill is an innovative product and marketing strategist, bridging the gap between your vision and strategic plan. He will help you design specific products and processes that are both scalable and set up to produce long-term revenue and growth. He has previously worked with influencers that include Dr. Josh Axe, Jordan Rubin of Ancient Nutrition, Olympic gold medalist Shawn Johnson, and many, many others. Schedule your call with Dr. Dave today by heading to meetwithdrdave.com. Training the best adjusters on the planet, SYNTROPY has reverse engineered what the masters do naturally. From the energetics to the mechanics, they've hacked the code to shorten your learning curve on the road to masterful adjusting. To find a seminar near you, head to syntropychirotraining.com. Thank you for allowing this brief disruption to take place. And now back to the program. Awesome, guys. Welcome back to the Legendary Chiropractor Podcast. I am your host, Johnny Reuter, and we are sitting down tonight with our amazing guest, Mr. Universe himself. Dr. Chris Zaino is joining us tonight. Doc, go ahead, share something fun with the audience a little bit about yourself. I know that's always like the classic thing to do. You know, someone usually says, share something someone doesn't know, but share something really interesting about yourself that, you know, would be beneficial for our audience to kind of get to know you a little bit better, and then we'll hop into topics here.
I got so many different fun stuff to do. Let's just get on to the topic, man.
I love
Let's
it.
get relevant.
I love it. So
I gotta keep this PG rated a little bit.
I love it, Doc. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna talk all about a few big things for chiropractic students specifically, but this is also going to pertain very heavily to docs as well who have been out, you know, for a little while, or who are looking to open practice, who are looking to take that next leap into maybe from an associateship, from an independent contracting position, take that next leap into owning their own clinic, owning their own practice. So we're going to talk about insurance. Is it worth it? How do we run it? We're going to talk about deciding if you're an associate doc, independent contractor, or if you're meant and kind of born innately to be that leader and that head chiropractor and that entrepreneur. And then we're going to talk about the absolute critical items you must have in order. This is going to be my favorite one. Yeah. Before graduation, in order to, you know, be as successful as you can as a chiropractor. So, Doc, let's start actually with that last one. I want to talk about what steps do you recommend people have in order before walking across that stage as a chiropractor, right? I know they hand you an empty diploma booklet, but it's still worth knowing, you know, what are some really solid and critical steps that people can have in place before, you know, really hitting the ground running.
Well, I think it's somewhat esoteric, but I really think when you walk across that stage, you have to know your next logical step. And that's all you need to know. You don't need to know 5 years from now or where you're going to live in 10 years. Like, what's my next logical step? I remember it was New Year's, right? And I remember that September I was graduating, and it was New Year's. And I remember I was on my mom took all her sons and everybody out on a Carnival cruise ship. So we're on this cruise liner. It's New Year's, fireworks are going. You're on the boat of the ship somewhere in the Gulf. And I remember going, holy shit, like this is the year that I'm going to be out of school. Like school's going to be over this year. By the end of I literally had to say, by the end of this year, I'm going to be literally working and practicing somewhere. And here was the thing. I had no idea where I was going, right? So that's scary. And I think everybody faces that. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, well, like for some people, like it's 2020 and you're like, I'm going to graduate in the next 1-2 trimesters, quarters. And I have no idea where I'm going. I had no clue whatsoever. And that was a really scary decision, scary situation. So I think everybody will help you with clarity is what's the next logical step? Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Like what state are you going to end up in? You know, are you going to so I was supposed to go to Florida, but I went to Texas, right? So it's like at least start making decisions. You'd be like, and then if you have a decision, you're like, I don't know if I want to go here, I want to go there. Here's the cool thing about your first few decisions when you graduate, it doesn't matter if they're right or wrong, meaning that just make a decision.
Yeah.
Like I'll go to Florida, do it. Stay in Texas, do it. But like at least there's things that you're wishy-washy on or you're pivoting the fence. You just gotta just make the decision and keep it. Don't go back and forth, because now you got to get all these decisions out of the way and just be like, this is it. I'm shooting for this, and I'll course correct, because the course correction, that's when good stuff happens, and that's what we'll get into. Right now, if you're a doc and you're about to graduate, you should be working at a successful clinic. And what that means is you need to be working at a clinic that is very similar to what you want to be doing practice-wise, and they need to be successful. Like, they can't be whiny and barely making it. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want like a mediocre place to apprentice in. And a lot of times, hey, I'm going to tell it like it is. Not all the time, but a lot of the peaks and stuff. Like, I am not approved. What are those programs like Peak and all that other stuff? I'm not. I am on the list not to be. I can't have any of you guys, because, when you talk to thousands of people and you polarize people and you have a board complaint for whatever, it's like you're blacklisted. So it's like, I'm a very successful practice, but no students were able by the school allowed to visit me for some stupid stuff.
Right.
Idiotic, right?
Yeah.
So it's like where sometimes you go to an office that might be, they play by the rules. I'm not saying not to play by, but you know what I mean?
Yep.
It's like they're not risk takers. And let me tell you, in this profession or in life, you got to be a little bit of a risk taker and go for it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you keep on playing it safe and you're about to graduate and you're playing it safe, you're going to regret it. You're going to lower the target, and you're never going to reach your potential. And that's where regret comes from. So I'd be apprenticing or working at an office. So I had the luxury where my wife at the time, Whitney, she literally worked for Dr. Jimmy LeBrecq in Texas. And that guy was a stud muffin. That guy had a great practice. Not only did he have a good practice, he did take insurance. He knew insurance inside and out, but he also did cash like as well, right? So, and he had a high value care plan. So he really was a good communicator. He was very good on business, meaning that, he knew where every penny went. So working, when Whitney worked for him, she learned all about insurance. She learned how to draw an x-ray. She learned how to do new patients. She learned balancing the books, because he was on it. He was so tight. But that's good, because his profits were measured. So that was a great experience. So here she got paid $14 an hour to learn all of that.
Right.
Like, I want you to think about that. Like, you're paying all this money to go in school that doesn't prepare you for real life, where you actually could get paid to actually learn how to do it. So, and let me tell you, just for everybody out there, you do not need to be an associate very long to know what to do. I'll tell you, probably in 1 month's pushing it, but how about this? In 1 month, you're going to have an idea on how it flows, right? Like, you'll get that. Okay, this happens, that happens. And then maybe to get real deep, to really do it where you could do it. I always say, within the year, you're ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you want to associate. So you're in school right now. So wherever you're at right now, even if you have 8 weeks to go, I don't know when the quarter trimester ends, but you know how much you could learn in 8 weeks by apprenticing or going in an office that is practicing very similar to you. So when we went to offices, it's like, oh yes, I want to practice real similar to this. Maybe you change a couple things, but you want to find something, because then you're not wasting your time. You're not just going to a place to get credit. Right? Because then you get all these credits, then you have to learn a new system to what you want to do. So I would apprentice, or even better, work part-time at a clinic and learn everything. And you'll learn it. I'm telling you guys, you'll learn it within a matter of a couple weeks or a couple months. It's not that hard.
I love
it's
it.
It's really not.
Yeah.
It's not hard. Like, everything I do is not hard, guys. And we could break it down
right
in the micro, saying, listen, like, Monday night I did a dinner. Is a talk really hard? No, it's not hard. It's hard. Something's hard because you didn't practice, right? So it's like a test is hard when you don't know the material. But like, if that's the only thing you got to do is study that thing, like everybody studied practicals, right? Remember when you had all these physical diagnosis? You literally were an actor for that entire thing. So you can learn one talk, right? Because this is now your career, and you do it, right? And then you got to get people there. Like, it's just so these little things in themselves are not difficult. You just got to do it, and then you gotta get kicked in the face, metaphorically, because then you learn from that. Like, but you don't quit. You don't quit. You just have no other option. Just keep moving. So everybody right now should be apprenticing or going to an office, for a good amount of time. So that's the next logical step. So they could either open on their own, or they at least know coming out how to be successful.
Absolutely, absolutely. And just real quick before I get into kind of what I jotted down for you, how do you know, right, if associating is for you, right? Or is it like, you come out and you're like, "Hey, I'm ready to hit the ground running." What does that look like in the mind and in the physical, right?
No, it's money.
Yeah.
My mom, I'll tell you, like
Yeah.
it's money. I do it. So the only thing, associate or a doctor, it's that. It's just money. That's all. It's it. I'll tell you why. My mom was able to give me a $40,000 loan.
There you go.
What a return that was,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah. Yeah.
So someone's like, well, I don't have 40 grand from anybody. You're right. I get it. There's nothing wrong with you. It's like I had $40,000 to buy equipment, to put the first month rent. You know what I mean? I had I got all my equipment on eBay, all my computers off eBay at the time. And just like I was able to build. The build out was just open room, knock down walls.
Yep.
A lot of it you could do on your own, like painting and stuff like that. And I needed a little bit of that. I needed that bump in the beginning to do it.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important. But I also think that some people kind of see themselves, and I've talked to plenty of students and peers of mine that see themselves as an associate for life, right? And they're like, I want to work for somebody. I don't ever want to own my own business, right? And I think that's important to kind of recognize, earlier rather than later. Would you agree?
No, 1,000,000%. But I know there's a lot of docs that are like, someday I'm going to do this, and then someday I'll have my practice.
Right.
Let's talk about the docs that want to have their place. Every single chiropractor, even if you want to be an associate for life, listen to me, you deserve the right to experience practice on your own, period. And I'll tell you why. Because it'll do two things. For those of you that are worried, you do it and you start, swimming and doing well. You're like, wow, it's a big confidence booster. For those of you that want to be an associate for life, you're like, you know what? I did it, and I'm so grateful that I could work for someone and not have to worry about all this stuff anymore. So whether you want to be associate for life or even practicing the owner, I really think it's good that everybody gives it some type of a shot to do it on their own. So associate or not associate, some of the greatest associates I had were like, listen, I had a practice, I tried it, I did this and that, and I don't want to deal with all the headache. I just want to go. I want to love on people, right? I don't want to deal with all the stuff on the outside and the risk and all the liabilities. And I just want to go home and spend time with my family and have a really good, comfortable life. And that's the greatest. That's for any owner. That's an angel to them, because it's very hard. Because most associates, right? They come in because they're learning, and then after a while, they're like, you know what? I could do this, and they go and do it. Thank God, right? So automatically, I tell all my associates, listen, let's do it for a year, and then you need to do it on your own.
Yeah, yeah.
So any associate that I would have long term would probably be an older gentleman or older woman, not because of an age thing, it's because it means that they either had a practice and said, listen, I don't want to deal with that anymore.
Right.
Or listen, I tried practicing on my own. I know I want to be an associate just to love on people and not have to worry about all that other stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely agree. I want to mention a couple notes that I jotted down. So the next logical step, students out there, before graduation, because I know a lot of you are peers of mine, and we're getting ready to walk across that stage. The next step, or the thing that you have to do, is really think, what is the next best step and logical step for me? And I think that's really important what you said, because a lot of times we're thinking 10 years down the road, right? 5, 10 years. And because me personally, I'm a dreamer, right? I'm a visionary. I'm like, it's going to be huge. And I love it. And it's like, I got to take myself back a little bit and say, okay, what is the next step? What state is that? And am I in, right? Is my future family in, right? And all of this stuff. And so you gotta take that into consideration. But even then, it's like you get too far along that path, and you're past just the simple stuff, right? Of where am I going next? Pretty much, right? Where am I going next, and how am I getting there? So that's kind of the biggest thing that you said, is take that, know your next logical step. And then the next thing I wrote down was, your life is your life. Like, don't live anybody else's life. And I think that we get hung up in this idea of, we see all these successful chiropractors and we see all of these, our friends, our colleagues doing amazing, amazing things. But maybe that's not you right now, right? Like, just do you, do you. And I hate to say that because it's so cliche and so simple. But sometimes we got to bring it back to the basics to say it's okay to just kind of do our own thing. And because what you said was absolutely right. Sometimes we're going to hit these challenges and we're going to drown and we're going to feel like we're drowning, right? But the best thing that we learn to do is swim at that point, right? And it's like we learn to cope with these challenges, and then it builds confidence, and all of a sudden now we've become a totally different person in the perspective of like practice and being a business owner or being an associate and being a doctor, and all of those things kind of come along with the conversation that we just had. Would you agree?
Oh, I absolutely agree, and that's the thing I want everybody to understand is the reason why it's the next logical step, and don't be too hard on yourself, is the way you practice in 10 years or in 20 years is going to be way different than when you started, right? So it's like the team you start with and the way you started, it's going to be totally different in 5 or 10 years anyway, right? So just make the decision. Okay, I'm doing it. I'll course correct, and I don't expect you to know exactly what you want to do anyway, and that's okay. And that's the problem with social media and coveting. So like, wow, that person's got their act together, and like you start, and it's like, listen, you don't know what you have to, you may not know what you want to do yet. So how do you do that? That's when you try different stuff. You work. That's a good time maybe to associate in different types of offices. Say I'm going to associate for 6 months here. Right? That's a high volume place. I'm going to associate here. It's a PI clinic. I'm going to associate here. It's primarily young children. I'm going to associate here. It's old people and a lot of neuropathy. Like, so you just get this buffet of life, and then you're either going to be like, I like a mixture of this or that, or I want a gym attached to my place, or crap, I'm going to go into real estate because I really don't want to do this at all. Right? So it's like you're going to have some type of feeling, but like you're not going to know. You're not supposed to know now because you haven't tried different ways of practice. You're going to be like, wow, I love taking care of children, or I love taking care of this and that. And it's like you don't know unless you're in that situation. Otherwise, it's just a fictitious thing in your head. But without the experience, you can't call it as something that you enjoy or not.
Yeah.
And so don't limit yourself. Like don't limit yourself to just. I always talk about like dining. Don't limit yourself to chicken and rice all the time, because there's all this other beautiful stuff up there that you haven't tried. So try it.
Right. Yeah. And I want to go back to one of your points that you mentioned before we go on our next ad break here. But back to one of your points you mentioned about being in school and finally coming out and the real world kind of hitting us. And I personally don't know what that's like yet. And I'm actually pretty nervous about it. But I've been in school, and I don't know if you were the same way, but I've been in school for 20 plus years, right?
Yeah.
This is going to be a wild awakening, and it's going to be amazing. I have full confidence that it's going to be amazing. It's going to have its challenges, and I'm willing to accept all the good, the bad, the ugly, right? And it's just fascinating to think about that, though. It's like we don't really put that into perspective. We go to school, we see the same people all the time, every day. We have pretty much the same conversations all the time, every day. And then, we have a break, we come back, we do it all again. And we advance in our doctoral program, right? And we start adjusting, we start seeing patients, we start having, if you're an outpatient, you start seeing people of the public, and now, in your preceptorship, you start seeing like real people, real cases. And it's as close to reality as it can be. But again, like, you have no responsibilities in regards to that practice, that business, that you're pretty much your life. Because if you're on student loans, you're still, you still have an income of some sort. So it's pretty fascinating to think about. Do you have any comments on that situation?
No, 100%. Well, that's why I said it's like, because you just know the next trimester or quarter is coming.
Right.
And then, like, but I'm telling you, that year, I'm like, this is the year that ends. Like, it's coming to an end. And in Parker, my year, they actually cut us back a quarter. Like, that was when the year they were like, yeah, we'll just do eight trimesters. I'm like, so it's like we actually went back. We actually made up time.
Right.
So I was like, holy cow. And just knowing, going into a year, this is the year it's going to happen. I'm like getting kicked out of the house.
It's exactly.
Right?
Yep.
And I gotta freaking do something about it.
It's exactly what it feels like.
But a couple things that'll help with that is, number one, I feel real practice in some ways was easier than school in some ways. And that the key, I think, because see, you don't realize what a routine you have in school. There's a routine because
Right.
you got to be in class at certain times.
Right.
So I think one of the things you want to do is when you get out of school is you want to have your routine going, right? So is the routine you're going to market here, you're going to do this here, like you want your routine just like school, right? So when you went to biochemistry, right? That was an hour Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So it's like, so what's taking the place of that? Marketing, right? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
So you got to get you create skills, you create things that you got to do as almost your class is going to keep. Because when you keep a routine, I think that's what happens. Someone comes out and they're like out of a cage running around wild, and they lose their routine and they feel like they're a fish out of water. So keep your routine with high income producing activities. That's why I tell people, when you open your practice, I'll see on the door like 7 to 1 and 3 to 6:30. I'm like, what the hell? What are you doing with those hours? It's like, you should have no hours whatsoever. Like it should be hours by appointment only. And I tell people, like, I would be open 8 to 9 in the morning and maybe 5 to 6 in the evening, or whatever works. So like 2 hours a day.
Right.
I would cluster book it so you get the feeling of a lot of people and new patients are coming in. I'm like, hold on, I'm with these people. So it's like, wow, this is a place to be. And then they're like, well, what would you do in the rest of the time? I'm like, market, sleep, work out. Like, it's no use sitting in a cold office trying to think you're going to attract people. So, like, use all that extra time as marketing, door to door, setting up talks. If you're good on Facebook, doing that stuff. So, or like I said, just enjoy life. Like if you're like, it sucks to have all these hours sitting around doing nothing with no routine, and all you're gonna do is surf social media. That makes you feel horrible. You're gonna be bored. You have no energy. So that's one thing I would have appointments. Patients by appointments only. There would be no hours on the door, and then you'll grow into your hours. So maybe you work 2 hours a day, then 4 hours a day. You're the doctor, right? Say, listen, I got an 8:30 and I got a 4:45. What works for you? Morning or afternoon, right? So it's something about having energy. It's about creating energy, making and feeling good. So if you feel good and you're happy and you're excited, you're gonna be more attractive to people, more charismatic, and you're gonna be more on point. But imagine being bored. I mean, just think about, like, when you're really bored, your energy's slow and moving. I mean, you're like it sucks. I mean, you're like a snail. So you want to really be able to keep that energy and routine going.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right, we're going to go on a quick ad break. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. When we come back, we are going to be diving a little bit deeper into this, and I'm going to be asking Dr. Zaino about a couple habits that we can really create to be better off while in practice, right? So not going stale is really what I want to talk about. So we'll be right back. Stay tuned, and love you guys. This is great. Every chiropractic clinic needs a compliance program. If you are not sure what that includes or why you need one, let Dr. Robin from RHDC Consulting help you build your chiropractic compliance. If you are ready to get started, head to robin-hale.mykajabi.com and let Dr. Robin guide you to the end result. Turnkey Practice is a chiro-focused full-service team. They are your administrative guidance through credentialing, lease agreements, and of course, office build-outs. They are there from start to finish, allowing you to focus on the marketing and building your patient base while they build your practice. Tailor-made for you. To get started, head to myturnkeypractice.com/legendarypod. Dr. Christy Wick is revamping the landscape of women's chiropractic coaching. With a focus on connection and congruence, she's on a mission to empower lady DCs across the nation to create bold, successful lives and practices their way. Get started today by visiting theilluminatedsquad.com. Imaging Services' primary business is chiropractic solutions. With over 45 years in the industry of helping chiropractors, Michael Tokash offers free consultations on building your business. In the past year, Imaging Services has installed over 100 X-ray machines and digital X-ray systems in over 42 states across the United States. For more, head to theimagingservices.com. The 56-day chiropractic boot camp, building badass female chiropractors who are instinctively successful. Head to 56daychirobootcamp.com/legendary for your free endless referrals cheat sheet now. Thank you for allowing this brief disruption to take place. And now back to the program. Awesome, guys. We are back. We are live with Dr. Chris Zaino. So we have talked all about the next logical step. What does that look like for you as a chiropractic student about to graduate, about to cross that stage? You got to have your next logical step in place. No matter how big or small it is, you want to make the decision to commit, right? Like you said, if you're going to Florida or Houston or Texas, just commit to do it. There will be challenges with both, and you'll learn from those experiences, and life filters things out. It has a tendency to do that. So we also talked about having a routine, right? Going from class time to now doing high income producing activities, right? And I think that Dr. Zaino said it really fast, so I wanted to bring it back to that point of saying, what we mean by high income producing activities is marketing events, calling corporate offices, asking them if you can do a lunch and learn, and then having, a couple hours on the books and cluster booking all of your patients, right? So Dr. Zaino mentioned before the ad break that he was in the office from 8 to 9 and maybe 5 to 6, right? And then once he grew, once he had enough patients in those sections, he just added on a half hour, right? And that's a milestone in your clinic, right? That shows growth. But you don't get that by sitting in a dark and empty office that you're paying, however many thousands of dollars a month to be in, right? So you got to really focus and prioritize your time and really know how to manage your time when classes and what can we call it? The rigor of school kind of is gone, right? It's just gone. So you got to really know how to fill your time. And the last thing, Doc, I want to kind of talk about is not becoming stale in practice. How do we go about doing that? No matter if you're associating independent contracting or having your own, I don't care what you're doing. You're just a chiropractor at this point. How do we avoid not only burnout, but just becoming maybe bored or stale? I like that word. It's just like, it becomes monotonous, right?
Well, Napoleon Hill in his book Think and Grow Rich, and all of his teachings, they always talked about enthusiasm. When you have enthusiasm about what you do, it's contagious. People sense that. I mean, I've done plenty of times. You go to a restaurant. I remember when I was in chiropractic school and kind of bummed out. I went to Houston for something. I forgot what it was, and the cab driver had so much enthusiasm. It was like, this guy is so happy, and he has so much joy, and here I'm going to be a doctor and everything, and I'm not nearly as happy as he is. So a lot to say about enthusiasm. You're like, well, how do I get my enthusiasm? Well, you got to set the rituals in the day that causes that. So sitting in a cold office is going to do it. So you train that. So how do you stay excited about, let's say, chiropractic? Well, John, you got all those books in the back left of you right there, right? So you read every single day, and I brainwashed myself, and I believe it in such a good way. So I listen to audios of some of the greatest speakers. How do I know this? Follow me here.
Yep.
You guys go to Parker seminars or Life and all these things, and you go to the seminars, or they have an assembly, or you go to Cal Jam or something like that. People, do they leave those events, well, if they're good? I mean, Cal Jam, I'll use Cal Jam as an example. Do you leave that event tired and bored or super excited and pumped?
Pumped.
Watch this. So I'm like, well, if I leave super excited and pumped, why don't I buy the audios of Cal Jam, and why don't I do all these things? So in between, I'm not waiting for a bump like a drug to go to the next seminar. I actually could be listening to every single day.
Right.
I remember Brad Glowacki, right?
Yep.
So he had this freaking awesome talk about how he adjusted service people, like the firefighters and the cops, and then this guy did a shooting. And the guy, and then it was his patient who had shoulder issues that couldn't move wound up being the cop that caught him. Or that, it came this beautiful. It was a beautiful Quentin Tarantino movie came together. And I was I would cry every time I would hear that. That I played every friggin' day. That's what I want. Like, so you find something you're like, oh my god, like if you get an emotional tear of inspiration from that, that's what you listen to. Like, and I like, so you gotta find, you gotta find your button. So I read the green books, get some BJ in there, get some philosophy down, brainwash myself there, and I listen to seminars and audios of dead chiros like BJ Palmer and Reggie Gold and Sid Williams. I always, and you can go on YouTube and rip the audios.
Right.
And I was listening to that question, so that kept me focused and pumped, right? And because what happens is, let's say you're not winning that day. Let's say you had a couple people that didn't become members and didn't sign up. So even though it's like, but you have all this other stuff that's getting your energy up. So that's one thing. That's how you brainwash yourself there. Keep listening. Do things that inspire you. The other thing is keeping your energy up. So a lot of times, remember, Sid Williams had said, you can't be a good chiropractor and a good golfer. And what he was saying is that you cannot do anything else than chiropractic. Otherwise, you will not be a good chiropractor. And it was a very fixed mindset. It was horrible. It was not a growth mindset. So I really kept myself from vacations and really having fun, because I felt if I was having fun on a Sunday and I wasn't screening on a Sunday, then I wasn't on the mission. It was a very dogmatic, very like purgatorial type life.
Right.
Yes, I was successful, but no fun. And so then I realized, like, well. And I did some things, when you start having fun, like you get excited, right? You're in a good mood, and then you bring that mood into the practice. So I remember, I'm just going to do it. I don't care what you think. I got a car that I really wanted, right? And I was so excited. I got a car that I wanted since I was a little kid. And I felt I didn't deserve it. I didn't feel I was worthy. Or I felt that, no. I'm not, I martyred false humility. When I got that thing, I was so excited. Our practice blew up because I brought excitement. So I realized that you could transmute excitement. So if you do a hobby that gets you excited, you could transmute that into the practice. If you listen to music or something or go to a concert that gets excited, or hang out with friends in a healthy way, and don't drink and stuff, and then you get excited. So like you could do things like energy management. You could get excited over things that you have fun with, and you bring that into the practice. And when you come back with enthusiasm and excitement, it's contagious. Like that's the difference with the person who says the same words that you do, but you get great results and they don't get the same results. Why? It's the enthusiasm, the excitement behind it. It's an energy. It's an energy.
Yeah.
You can't do that when you can't be bored, depressed, and lethargic and bring that same energy.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think what you said, I liked what you said, because you used the term brainwashing, and you were like, I think it's a positive thing, right? Yeah. But it is. But it's training yourself to kind of be on fire for your profession and what you do for people, because it matters. It's a big deal. You don't want it to be the best kept secret, and you want it to be out there at speaking chiropractically, right? And so it's reinstating, why you're doing what you're doing on a daily basis, right? Because once you lose that purpose and that vision and that goal, all of a sudden it's like everything becomes, and I'll go back to the same word I used at the beginning, it becomes stale, right? And you're just adjusting and you're just paying the bills and you're, all this stuff. And it's just like, that's not fun. But like you said, right? If you go to an event and it pumps you up, why wouldn't you, get the recordings or get the videos or whatever it is and get pumped up on demand, right? It's like, if you like to talk by Brad Glowacki, listen to it again and again and again, right? And so I think that's really important. Then I wrote down high energy as well, right? High energy and enthusiasm. I'll kind of put high energy, enthusiasm, and passion all kind of clumped into one. And then when you have those three things, high energy, enthusiasm, and it becomes contagious, right? All of a sudden, you have this passion that's transcending, this enthusiasm that's transcending, and now your energy as well. People love that. And they want to be around it. It's the law of attraction. If we want to go back to that, right? Like, it's simply the law of attraction. And so I think it's really important conversation to have, because I know a lot of chiros who get stale in practice, right? And who I've talked to who are like, it is what it is, right? I'm happy, right? And it's like, what? It's like, this is the best. For me, coming out of school, it's like, I'm on fire. But at the same time, how do I keep that, right? And I think that's an important conversation to have.
No, you nailed it. And so what I want everybody to realize that enthusiasm is not a gift or talent. It's a skill that has to be cultivated through effort. Like you just don't get it. You get spizzed out, right? You go up and down, but the main enthusiasm is really it's not a talent. It's a skill that you developed
Right.
over reading those books every day. The most important thing I ever did, I always tell people, is I listen to audios. I listen to audios every day, and I read those green books every day, every single day. In my car, it was just playing in the background. John X-Ray was playing in the background because I listened to the greatest speakers of the profession, living and dead. The greatest. So if you listen to the greatest speakers, living and dead, on a daily basis, tell me how you would communicate the principle.
Right.
Because you talk like all of them, right? So it's like, it is the most important thing you could do, but you know what? It took consistent effort, and so this enthusiasm became a skill. See, a lot of people put too much effort. Well, he's talented, or he's gifted. No,
Right.
he or she's not gifted or talented. They put work into it.
Yeah.
Over time. So it's something that anybody could develop and be able to do it. And let me share something to be transparent. Dude, this is perfect timing. Today was the first time, or like last week was the first time that I literally like could come out and say, I'm back. Meaning, I took a year and a half off. You know, I went to Utah, stuff like this. And when I go to Utah, like green books were in the box, man. You know what? I actually thought about actually delivering them to a bookstore. Like they were like that time of my life was done. I don't need them anymore. I wasn't practicing at the time. And then I came back a year, about a year and a half later, had to come back. Between that and going through a very amicable divorce, so I'm not blaming a divorce for that, but it was transition, right? So I moved back. I have to take over a practice that was cut by 2/3. Like I'm losing bad. Like my perception is I am losing bad.
Right.
And so what do? I know what I got to do. MP3 in my car, green books, dust them things off, open it up. I started doing it. And I'm going to tell you right now, you know how long it took me to get back? A year and 3 months, dude. A year and freaking 3 months. Because I was getting so frustrated, and I said, maybe I lost it. Maybe it's gone forever.
Right.
No, that skill atrophied so much. It took me a year and 3 months of straight, what we just talked about, to literally come back to where now it's like everything I touch turns to gold.
Right.
That kind of like things are firing on all cylinders, and it's just like now we're like clicking now, right? So a year and 3 months, man. And you want to quit, you want to do these things, you start thinking your old power, like maybe it's just like a boxer, you peaked and you go down. But no, I would like it was this week, and like even today, I'm like, I just said to myself, I'm like, it's good to be back. And it's just a part of me that I felt I lost, but it took a year and 3 months of that consistent brainwashing or developing the skill again to get it back. So when you guys do that, understand that could be 2 years out of school of consistent training every day and effort before you feel to yourself, now I got it. Okay. Because even if you did it before, it atrophies. So it's okay 1 or 2 years after you graduate going, I'm not winning here. It's okay. The only way you lose is if you just sit down and quit, but be like, it could take 1 or 2 years for it to really start clicking.
Yeah.
And that's okay, but you just don't quit. You don't quit. But yeah, man, it was, and it's frustrating because it's even more frustrating when you knew you were at one point, you went here, and you didn't think you were going to come back. And then to be able to come back or get it back again.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
I'm pumped for you. That is amazing to hear. I want everyone to be clear that this was on the Legendary Chiropractor podcast that Dr. Zaino had his comeback. He announced his comeback. But no, that's awesome, Doc. I'm pumped for you. And it's important to be transparent with people like that because I think in a sense, right, people definitely idolize you and you are a very famous face and name in the profession. And I think it's important to know, like, hey, I work on these things on the daily, right? This is not something that just comes like, oh, he's naturally gifted. No. I like that you said that. It takes effort. It takes consistency, which is something we talk about that all the time on this podcast is consistency, because without that, you don't have an end result, right? You may see the end result because you're a dreamer, a visionary, whatever, but without the consistency and reverse engineering your roadmap to get there, that end result will never come. And it's really, really interesting. So I'm pumped for you, Doc. I'm really excited to see kind of what's in store for your future, and just kind of, oh man, I love it. I'll keep having you on the podcast because we always have a blast on here. But I'm going to take one last ad break, and then we're going to come back and we're going to talk all about what you got cooking up in your corner of the world, and just kind of give some people some closing remarks and positivity going, obviously into graduation, and obviously just as a chiropractic student and doc, because we know we love this profession, but sometimes we gotta get pumped up again.
Got it.
Awesome. Let's do it. Dr. Stu Hoffman, founder and president of CHIRO Malpractice Insurance, is the foremost expert in both risk management and risk avoidance. Understanding the everyday challenges of today's practicing chiropractor and the current public perception of chiropractic has made CHIRO the fastest growing malpractice insurance program of the last 28 years. Find out more at chirosecure.com. The IFCO is here to support you. Whether you are a chiropractic student, doctor of chiropractic, chiropractic organization, or member of the public, the International Federation of Chiropractors and Organizations is here for you. They recognize and support your right to practice and receive vertebral subluxation-centered chiropractic care, and are here to ensure that right and spread access to that care throughout the world. Head to ifcochiro.org/legendary for more. Be sure to give our friends over at Chiro Hustle a listen. They are bringing together some of the biggest names in the profession and learning from the greats. Chiro Hustle creates a safe space where chiropractic leaders share their stories and their passions with the world. Let's get hustling by heading to chirohustle.com now. Thank you for allowing this brief disruption to take place. And now back to the program. Sweet, guys. All right, Doc, break it down for us. What's to come in your corner of the world, and really why should chiropractors be excited to graduate and be a part of this profession? Because I think a lot of times we hear some horror stories in just the public perception, and even as a student, it's the rigor of school, the program, what have you, whatever it is. But we need to be positive, I think, coming out of school and be ready to rock and roll. So talk to us a little bit about not only what's going on in your life these days and recently and coming up, but also what should we be positive about and looking forward to in chiropractic?
Well, I'd rather focus on the chiros. Well, it's just you gotta understand, it's a profession that's just never going to go away. You have your ups and downs, but it's not going anywhere. So there's other things. You were talking about other chiropractors, including myself. I bring different things in the office, whether it's stem cells, you do blood work, some chiros do weight loss, all these things. Like, those things kind of come and go, right? They're short-lived, and if you do want to bring those in, even insurance is short-lived, right? So those things come and go. And what I ask you is, like, if you want to do them, I think they're great, but understand that when they're doing really well, don't think it's going to be like that forever. Chiro will be forever. So always make sure you're feeding that chiro, all right? Because what happens is, if you're like, wow, this thing's doing great, people want this, it's a huge profit gainer, and you shift all your energy there, what happens when that dries up? What happens when you can't do that anymore? Then then you turn around and look at your practice, and it's like it's squirrels running around. There's nothing, like, it's gone, right? So then you're in trouble. So listen, if you get attracted by cool things, great. Like, I'm doing stem cells, as well in the office. Or just like the joints and stuff and neuropathy, crushing it. Same model. Go do a talk. They come in, same thing. But to see patients pay what they do for a stem cell, and then you got to you get frustrated, like, wow, and chiropractic is so more important. But, like, listen, that will not last as long as chiropractic at all, right? So when things are good, I'm saving all that, right? So, like, silo that, save it, go with your money in that, because chiro is something that'll always go and be doing, but these things you bring in the office, understand they'll be short-lived. So know that they're short-lived, have fun, go at it hard, And when the day's over, when they start, when insurance doesn't work, you're like, okay, no big deal. It was fun when it lasted. And the only way you could just shrug it off is when you have a very good, solid foundation on the Chiro side. So always, even when you're doing other things, always don't ever neglect it. Like really, always make sure you're keeping that growing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have Dr. Zaino's link down there as well. You can go check out his website, chirothoughtleaders.com, chirothoughtleaders.com. And he has some gifts for you there and just some opt-ins and stuff like that. So talk to us a little bit now about, just quickly, on Chiro Thought Leaders and what people can expect when they go to the site.
Well, Chiro Thought Leaders, one thing is, when I train doctors or even myself, like, you want the least amount of variables.
Yeah.
So sometimes in a team training, when you go over something, it always slightly changes. So Dr. Tabor Smith and I, we actually put together everything. When people were asking, how do you do your dinners? We made an entire course and program. This is how you do it. This is how you say it. This is how you learn it. This is how your staff does it. This is how everything from A to Z. We made that course, so it's done. It's a package. It's all the videos. How to do a doctor's report. We made a report of findings a course. We wound up doing 21 courses. I had that Zaino experience. It was $10,000 for a ticket. And yes, I mean, hundreds of docs went through that with their offices. So we videotaped the whole thing because, after a while, it's like this whole on demand. People would rather be at home. And then it was expensive. You got to fly your whole team out, and you got to stay and get a hotel. So, we did all these things. We put them on video, high quality video. And so you have this in a course, almost like a university. So there's 21 courses in there, and all of them really, like, it's almost like a legacy course, meaning that I'm like, John, man, if I could give you anything, I'd give you this. And this has everything you need. At the best of my best, everything we did, everything you need, it's all you'll ever need to run a very highly successful practice any way you want. So it's really everything in there. It's all the quote unquote secrets and all the things and the procedures. It's everything there. 21 courses of communication. I mean, Roberto's in there. We talked about speaking. It's just amazing. It's just no other. There's over 500 videos in there. There's no other course like it, just because no one would ever put the time in to do it, right? So we did that. It's great. So that's if you opt in on that now, you'll get 3 training videos on destroying obscurity. I always believe that the reason why your practice isn't where it needs to be is because people just haven't heard of you. Right? They don't know who you are. If they did, they'd be in your office. It's common mistakes docs make, how to fix those, and really really turning things into a lifetime practice. Having people not only just get chiropractic care, but they grow old with you as well. Today a lady's like, I've been here 8 years. Another lady was like, I've been here 12 years. So it's really nice to see, and their family, you grow old with them, so it's a wonderful thing. And if you're a chiropractor, that seems to be what a lot of people want, an avalanche of new patients. They want to be able to sign up a lot of patients, so it takes care of their lives, and they want to keep their patients as long as possible. And that way you don't have to having to get all these new patients in, because you have a very good solid base and you don't have scarcity. So it's everything there, man. It's everything I ever did. It's the technicalities and the strategy and the process and procedure down to it's the recipe, basically. That's all in that course.
Right. Love it. I absolutely love it. Well, guys, you heard it here first. Dr. Chris Zaino here on the Legendary Chiropractor Podcast. We are so excited that you joined us tonight. Thank you so much for watching the Legendary Chiropractor Podcast, supporting us, listening to it on audio when it comes out next season. And just thank you so much for treating the sponsors well as well. Go get your free gifts. Go get your free sponsor goodies. And also be sure, I want to tell everybody now that at the end, or actually come April, we'll be doing a soft launch. I was telling Dr. Zaino off screen that we're completely redoing our website. And so I want to make sure that we're getting those seeds planted and getting people to talk about it, because the legendarychiropractor.com is going to be absolutely amazing when we're done with the site. So we're shooting for soft launch in April, full launch by July. So you'll hear tons from me on that. I will be blowing up social media when it comes to everything like updates and giveaways and such things of that nature. So I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. And I thank you so much for joining us on the Legendary Chiropractor Podcast. Dr. Zaino, it's always a pleasure, always an honor to have you on. And I'll be reaching out next season as well.
I'll be here.
Awesome. Bye, guys. Have a great, great evening.